Support for Another Round comes from Squarespace. With Squarespace, you get a unique domain experience that's fully transparent and simple to set up. If you sign up for a year, the domain is free, and you can save 10% off your first purchase with the offer code Another Round. Make your next move with Squarespace.
Hi, everyone. I'm Heben.
And this drink is good.
Oh, my God. And welcome to Another Round with Heben, and this drink is good.
Hi, Hev.
Welcome to the show, Drink.
Please refer to me by my legal name, Mrs. Good. Thank you.
I missed that. You're right.
It's okay. I just changed it yesterday. How are you?
You know, I'm alive.
Yeah. You were doing so good at being alive.
Thank you.
Got both of your eyes open at the same time.
Miracles all
Killing
around.
it. Breathing.
What?
Upright.
Okay.
I see you, girl.
So, Tracy McGee, we have a very special encore today.
We do. So this is a very early episode of ours. This is actually one of my favorite episodes. Spoiler alert. This is the Janelle James episode.
Ooh,
Spoiler alert.
yes.
And she's here right now listening to me say all kinds of nice things about her.
I know. If I could blush, it'd be all up in here. It'd be all up in here. Thank you guys for having me again.
Oh, thank you for coming back. Your episode is one of my favorites because we were so new and early and learning how to interview. And a lesson that I learned from your particular interview is to let the conversation go where it goes. Because I don't know if you remember.
I do.
I be talking.
I know exactly what you're about to say.
So when we had you on the show, we came in with all these questions about your career
Sure,
and
comedy,
your background.
et cetera.
And you was like, well, I was a dominatrix. And we were like,
Fuck the interview.
Right. The lesson there was to follow the conversation when it's going somewhere amazing. So, hey, Miss Dominatrix.
Hey, that was so long ago, man.
So lots of change.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
A couple lifetimes ago.
Yeah. No shame, though. I don't want to seem like that. But anyway.
No. I mean, we might revisit the dominatrix career.
Oh, sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Heben is still into it.
Yes.
So since your last visit to the show, lots has happened. Still performing in Brooklyn. Got a new comedy album out.
I mean, I'm a stand-up, so time is... I don't even know. I don't even know what today is. But and it's just if you're grinding, as the rappers say,
As the youth.
you don't even. I mean, I feel time passing, but it's when you're a lot happened. I'm just I'm just doing steps. It doesn't even feel like a lot has happened. I just feel like I'm just moving.
Right.
Word.
So,
Well, one of the things that's happened is you have a new comedy album out.
Yes, that
called
is true.
Black and Mild.
Yes.
Walk us through to that.
Yes. I had that in
With
my
the
head.
ill ass cover too.
Thank
you look like you about to
you.
drop a mixtape. I
Thank
was like, all right, the comedy album fire, but where's the mixtape though?
I've had that name and idea in my head for 3 years. Every year I just cross my fingers please don't let any other comic do it, and because I was asked 3 years ago to do an album, but I knew I wasn't ready. So I just
Why weren't you ready?
I just felt my jokes could be better. I wanna everything I do, I want to be great. You know what I mean? Not just I can do it, so I'm gonna do it now. You know what I mean? I feel I want to put out good product.
How did you know when you were ready?
I was tired of saying the jokes that I put on it. I was these are complete.
Yes.
No, not even just old, just complete. I don't want people to think I'm put stale material on it or whatever. But a thing you learn as you go on as stand up is if you have a joke, there can always be an addition, what you call tags. So the joke is done, but then over time something might happen to you, or you notice something else, or you think of something else that relates to that joke that you used to tell, and you're like, oh, that could go good together, you know what I mean?
It's called a tag?
Yeah, so you have a
Learning
joke.
stuffs.
There's a punchline, but then you're like da-da-da-da-da-da, so that there's an extra sentence on the joke that takes it to another level, and that's called a tag. And tags you usually think of as time goes on. So if I had put out the album 3 years ago, it wouldn't have those tags. The jokes wouldn't be as fully formed as they could be, and I'm more just confident and funnier than I was 3 years ago. I just didn't feel it then. And I think a lot of comics, usually you don't find out about people's first album until they're already famous, and then people work backwards and go to their, and then you're like, oh, you can see you'll see progression in my next album too, but I didn't want people to go back and find some bullshit. You know what I mean?
Oh man, welcome to my entire writing career.
Yeah, if I can help, I want everything I put out to be great on its own. Yeah.
Well, you've gotten a lot of new material with the election of a certain somebody and a certain
Yeah, since we
office.
talked, there's also been some like world news
Man.
has happened.
Such
We've had a black bachelorette. Y'all elected this little president. So much stuff.
So much has happened that I can't even like recall all of it.
Yeah.
How
so
has your comedy changed with the new president, quote unquote?
I'm so angrier. It sucks. Sometimes I'm in a good mood, and it's not until I get on the mic I'm like, oh, I'm pissed.
And then it all just comes out.
It just all comes out. I mean, yeah, it's just not only angry, but just like emotional, you know, and just heavy, man. It's like really hard to make a lot of this stuff funny. Sometimes, so a lot of my, I'm gonna keep it real now. A lot of my, I always keep it real.
Please do.
A lot of my audiences are white. So that's always been, not weird, but that's just always been a thing that, you know, people will point out or whatever. I accept money from everyone. So, so I don't mind, but
White audience, green
hey,
money.
keep coming. I appreciate you guys. But race jokes, Trump jokes, all that stuff has taken a different pallor when you're telling it to a white audience. You know what I mean? So sometimes, even though I could be saying a race joke, and if they laugh, I'm like pissed because I'm like,
Why you laughing?
why you laughing at this joke? You know what I mean? It's such a mind fuck kind of, you know.
Is it like that thing of when Chappelle's show was on and you might be watching it with white people and they laugh too hard?
Oh, that's such a great.
I was in
yeah.
college when that happened, so not only was I surrounded by white people, but I was surrounded by a particular type of white person. Okay, so we
Yeah.
watched Chappelle's show and they just like rolling around in the aisles like it's a Def Comedy Jam audience. So I'm just like, what do you know about this, Chadwick? Get your full ass off the floor. You can't do this.
Yo,
Yeah.
that's so real. I watched The Boondocks with a white person once in college. Never again.
Yeah.
Never again. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, so it's just, it's weird. Of course, I then if they didn't laugh, then that would be even worse. You know what I mean? But it's just like, dang, it's just a wonder if they're even getting the gravity of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But then I have to like get over myself, like, you a fucking clown. Like, that's what you gave. My first and ultimate goal is to make people laugh, so I have to get over myself. But yeah, it's been really hard.
Do you tailor your jokes to white people? Like, I want to make Trump jokes, but my audience is white, so I want to do it in a certain way.
No, I do everything the same. Like, so I was just in North Carolina, in Wilmington, and not to be like, being stereotypical, I have to go in like, all right, this is kind of the South, who knows, but I don't change my stuff. So, I mean, I got into this shit to say whatever I want, so why would I do that? But I believe, and it has proven true, that you can say anything if you can make people laugh. Like, people will listen to you if you can make them laugh. You know, first of all, these are a lot of people who have never even been in a situation where they have to listen to a black woman talk. Period.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just
That's a depressing reality.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I get a lot of, I've never met a black girl like you, and I'm like, how many black girls have you met? You know what I mean? Like, and it's not many anyway, so I'm already like, not a weirdo, but
Just an anomaly in their
anomaly,
life.
you know what I mean? And so not only are they listening to me, I'm like kind of in charge. They can't talk back. It's just all this stuff. I mean, I think about this stuff like these, you know, like especially like white men, like this isn't a position they're ever in. So I already am grateful to them for even showing up, for even coming to the club, seeing it's a black girl on the poster and be like, I'm gonna check this out. Like I'm like, something in you is cool. So I'm not gonna be scared. I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna do my act, and I know I'm funny, so just, you know.
I have a random question for you. While you're touring and stuff, how do you do your hair?
Oh no! Well, I've been in a braid phase for a minute.
Speaking of,
you know, I stay
today's
braid gang.
Thank you.
Yes, I see you.
I see the Nina Simone-esque,
thank you.
the Solange-esque.
That's been the election too. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna be black as fuck. Like, I don't care. Like you saw my album cover. Like, I was like, I'm not gonna, because as I'm sure we all know, as people get more, black women get more and more famous the straighter their hair gets.
Unless you're in a Tyler Perry movie and the more natural your hair gets, the better your life is.
It's still a certain kind of natural.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's like super wavy.
Yeah, exactly. Brazilian
It ain't no
wave.
4C
bundle,
in there.
yeah, exactly. So I'm like, nah, I'm going the opposite direction. So
Yes.
I've been braiding Every once in a while, I put on a wig, but I don't know how to do them things.
Listen,
I'm
me
the chick that
either.
people be making fun of where that shit is like resting on the back of your head. Like, I don't even know. And I'm
Where it
so...
like starts at your eyebrows.
Yes.
Everybody like, where your hairline?
Like, my wigs are never...
See,
and
that's why I don't wear them, because I'm afraid of being that girl who's just like, because like the point is like with makeup, you want to look like you're not wearing it.
Or at least
You wanna look
if people know it's still like, but she killing it though. You know what I mean? No, my
but
shit.
her like lace front
no.
is whatever. No,
I don't know what I'm doing. I just order them off online, and if I have on a wig, it's a rough day for me. And, so I'll do that sometimes, but nah, other than that.
Word.
Yeah.
I'm just always curious, Black
Yeah.
women, what
Well,
y'all doing? What y'all doing?
I'm also not so famous or booked that I'm like on the road 60 days a year or whatever. So I'm coming home in between. You know what I mean? I can wash and do the deep conditioning whole day session or whatever, you know, in between.
Real.
So another big change, aside from the whole presidential whatever, is Spacey Weinstein.
That's what I've been calling hecklers, like male hecklers. I call them Spacey Weinstein. Shout out Spacey Weinstein.
How do they respond?
Laugh.
I'm gonna start calling every white man that.
Yes.
One.
Yep. It's fun. They all laugh. That's the other thing I've realized about white people. Like, white people know they're in charge. Like, so they're almost like, ha, 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 we're going to win. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? They almost respect you for even having the balls to say the joke. So it's just like, it's a weird, like, tug of war with doing stand-up. I talk so much shit.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're just like, whatever, lady. You know what I mean?
She's harmless. Societally, socially, she's a lady.
It's a lady.
She can't oppress
Exactly.
anyone. It's fine.
We still have all the
power.
Yeah, exactly. That's a big part of it, I mean.
Yeah, I'm convinced that Louis C.K. is going to be fine. So I don't even like, it doesn't register for me like,
Oh, you never know with these.
I don't know.
These
see,
dudes.
that's true.
They lay low. He comes out as a painter or something, or some redemption tour. Like,
He gets reincarnated as a butterfly. And
He
shit's
writes a
cool.
book that talks about whatever. I mean, this is not only as a dude, a white man. Like, come on, and also this is America. People love that shit.
Especially
It's
if you're a
like-
white dude.
Yeah.
Especially if you're white,
They're
dude.
like, let
they
him
get to come
go.
back. Yeah,
Well,
he's
that's-
tortured. You know?
Yeah.
I know. He's been through so much
He's
in
been
his
through
life.
so much.
But Louis C.K., when I read his statement, I was like, he's going to be the fuck fine because he used all the important buzzwords. Privilege.
I don't know.
No?
Well,
I don't know.
This has been a good thing about the internet. I was just talking. Oh, did y'all watch? What's her name? Megan, the Fox News chick who got the talk show.
Kelly.
Megan Kelly. So
no.
one good thing about the internet is while being dumber, we're also smarter, like more savvy. So the reason her shit failed is because before the internet and all that, she could have changed up her whole vibe, and we would have
forgotten Black Santa.
Right. Right.
Would
It
she
wouldn't be
stand?
it wouldn't be in the ether. Like we can look that up at any time. Like, us three aren't her viewership,
Right.
but even them, they got to see the whole con.
Yeah.
And they're not buying it. You know what I mean? So I think that's new. She would have been able to do that 5 years ago. You know what I mean? So I think with everything, even with Louis C.K.'s letter, people are reading it, dissecting it, breaking it down, talking about, and people aren't buying it. So it might be a different
Someone
time.
did point out that he never said sorry.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Like if he before the internet, where he had to release it in a paper or something, and then no one ever saw it again, he may have gotten away with it. But now people are just more savvy to advertising and con people, and dishonesty, I think.
Would you go on Megyn Kelly's show?
No. That's why I ain't gonna never be famous. Like I have no.
Too much attitude and principles.
Is it principle? I don't know what it is. I make myself mad because I feel like most people, including you guys, we know how to be famous already. Like if you wanted to, we're already talented. We're smart people. Like we know what to do. And I always feel like I know what I can do. I know what kind of stand-up I could do. I know what kind of look I could do, where I may not be Kevin Hart, but I could be further along, and I just cannot. So I get mad at myself sometimes. But it's just...
I hear you.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yo, you've been hanging out with more famous people.
Yeah.
And like rich people
Single
generally.
ones? Wait, let's start
talk
at
to
the
us
top
about
of
this.
this. Walk me through this.
I guess you're talking about Chris Rock?
Yeah. Chris Rock generally, I feel like you mentioned it in Black and Mild, just like the habits of rich people.
Oh, yeah.
And going to LA more, what that's like.
Yeah. I mean, I would change that from hanging out with rich people into finding myself in the company of. You know what I mean?
Just stumbling upon.
I'm not
some
really like
opulence.
hey, Lady Gaga just text me type of person. Like, I just, for whatever reason, I'll end up on a show with people where I'm like, holy shit, I didn't even know these people knew who I was. And then they'll all be like, let's go to rich people dinner. And I'll be like,
Rich
okay.
people dinner.
Yo, you've been to rich people dinner?
Man, broccoli as a main. That's
Wait.
Rich people dinner is sides as the
I'm
main.
sorry.
They be
It's a
doing that.
main.
Yeah, it's like this is
Okay.
not an entree.
Hello,
Nah.
$17 broccoli, and that's all they put on your shit.
Okay,
son.
listen,
that's
I'm not,
rich people
I'm
shit.
not trying to say I don't believe y'all because I have not been to rich people dinner. But what the okay, so I've heard of like macaroni and cheese as a main. Like I've seen
No.
commercials about that shit, but like broccoli.
Yes, charred. It'll be like a long description.
just
Charred broccoli with a pesto, reduction.
Sure, sure.
They describe it like a steak, and that's all you get.
Broccoli steak.
Excuse me. Yes, broccoli steak.
So yeah, that's the kind of mess I've been falling into. And I'm always the person like, y'all got chicken? You know what I mean?
Is it a Popeyes around here somewhere? I ain't got no Popeyes. Come on, nigga.
We did definitely just go to a fancy event and then go get Popeyes after.
Yeah,
like
we
recently,
literally
we went
did.
to the Glamour Winner of
around
the Year
the corner
Awards.
from my black ass apartment.
Yeah.
We was like, there's no. We
Where
was
the-
like,
where
did we
the
get here
food at?
late?
Yeah,
Is
we
it
did.
gone?
One we
like,
did.
What the okay.
Okay.
We were like an hour
Right.
late. But anyway, not the point.
Can one get full on hummus is the question.
The answer is no. Never, not at all.
What's the first thing you're going to do when you're just like dumb rich? Just, there's no
I am-
reason you have this much money
I mean, other than
talent and skill, obviously.
other than the everybody blacks answer, take care of my mom.
Oh, yeah.
But this has to be like a you
Frivolous.
frivolous, no purpose, no meaning.
Yeah.
Man,
That's a good question.
I really just want to travel, just without worrying about being in a hole when I get back home. You know what I
Word.
mean?
One of those lives where you don't have to like look at your bank account before you buy a sandwich.
No, just out there.
Before you buy anything.
Yeah,
Right, by
And you don't have it memorized in your mind.
exactly,
Exactly.
exactly.
Where? So I'm about to hand you a first class
Oh man,
ticket to anywhere.
Oh, man.
Not for. Okay, chill out. I don't actually have.
Don't stress.
When you leave, are you still going to wherever you was going
under your
before?
chair.
I didn't mean to get nobody's hopes up. I can't send you nowhere.
Here at another round.
You believe in travel so much. Where would you go if I did have that kind of power?
Man. All right. So again, my inability to be phony. I want to say some African shit just on some black shit, but that's not true. It's not true. I
Talk your
want to
truth.
go. Oh man, where's the? It's like a place where I don't even know the name
We
of
gonna
it, but
figure it
I
out.
know
Let's
rich
go.
people go there. Like I know Beyonce was there. The
Okay,
water is so
okay,
blue.
okay.
I want to say it's like off the Italian coast, like one of those.
Ooh. I was going to guess Iceland because she did have that stint in Iceland. When Iceland was popping, Beyonce
would
went
go there, but not
What
my
a sentence,
first
first
place.
of all, when Iceland was
Like
popping.
Capri or like one of
Yes,
those.
yes, one of those.
Yeah.
Malta?
Malta, yes. Like
Malta?
all around there. Like I just want to be on a boat
Yes.
and
Blue as fuck.
Yeah, blue as fuck. And you pull up on your boat, you go into town.
Oh, this is
you got
beautiful.
like a
My country has had to look up Malta because I was like, that sounds like a milkshake, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes.
That
Can
is
you
beautiful.
come on? You got on like a hat, but it's like a slight breeze, so you got to hold it while you're walking a little bit.
a vision, a look, yes.
And you have on like one of those white off the shoulder like sundresses with the 3 buttons
Like
up
the really
underneath, like the
flowy-
milkmaid top, and then it's flowy at the bottom.
God, I'm getting
Girl.
a full ass vision. Yes, I love it. I'm living.
You holding
Okay,
hands with whoever, and
don't matter who, don't matter. You the
it's
focus.
just- you the focus. You paid for it, and he a little self conscious about it, but he came. You was like, look,
Yeah,
it's 2017.
exactly.
We pay.
Yeah.
Women can pay for shit. You
It's
know.
fine. Ooh, in best case scenario, he's like, you know what? I don't really do social media, so I don't want to be
You
out
are
on your
yeah,
Instagram.
nobody knows.
Nobody
So
needs
it's
to
just
know.
you.
Nobody knows.
Everybody's like, who took the picture? Don't worry about that.
Don't worry about it.
My business took
Don't
the picture.
worry
Shadow
about
is that in
it.
the background. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about
Not yours.
it.
Not yours.
So that's
It's
where
one
I
of
would
those
go.
things where people tag unnecessarily. Don't worry about it instead of like
Hashtag
tagging the
don't,
person.
hashtag worry, hashtag about.
Yes, ladies, we
So-
all deserve this vacation.
So there it is. Did you notice I said I would pay for it just because that's how controlling I am?
Boss ass bitch.
I'm like, we doing everything I want to do.
Right.
'Cause I pay for it. Anyway.
I see the dominatrix thread coming
Yeah,
back out.
I-
Coming
man.
back.
Can I make a proposition?
Ooh.
So what I would like to do, as of like 3 seconds ago, I just got this idea. I want to gather each and every one of my single Black lady friends.
Word.
I'm in.
Already in.
Okay.
And we go to Italy.
Yes.
Ooh.
And we get in all kind of trouble. Because
Word.
I hear that Italian men are kind of problematically into Black women.
Yeah.
sometimes.
And you got an Ethiopian in the crew.
Hey!
The Italians have
that
a relationship with us.
Wait, I don't understand this relationship.
Ethiopians are a prideful people, and we
Only date each other.
I don't date Ethiopians because they're too light skinned
like, I
most of the time.
You don't do it.
No. Colonialism,
You know colonialism.
that. So like Ethiopians, they're like, we've never been colonized. At times they'll be like, oh, what about that one time?
Yeah.
And then you're like, calm the fuck down. Y'all ain't do
Okay,
shit.
so this happening. This is happening.
But then they also like, they got dope like lasagna and stuff. And then we fight. We're like, we invented lasagna. Y'all think you can do
wait,
it.
y'all invented lasagna?
We think so.
I know. See,
I
every
think
time you say we
Italians-
invented something, I don't know when to be like,
All right, Ethiopians did invent coffee. They didn't invent lasagna.
okay.
But they did perfect it.
oh, ooh,
Would you
roller
look at that?
coaster.
Would you look at that?
I like
Anyways,
that.
I'm in for the trip.
Okay, you know what? Girls Trip Part 2
Yeah.
coming soon to a
Word.
theater or a play or like
I feel like y'all ain't gonna invite me now. God
no,
damn it.
no, listen.
No,
damn
we
it.
in there.
Listen, when we go, I'm gonna need somebody to hang out with. So it's me and you.
And then I'll talk all this shit. Y'all like, damn, Janelle a hoe. I'll be like, something about Italy. I just don't even know.
Everybody stay tuned for Girls Trip Part 2. I'm hyped. I'm excited. Also, in the meantime, listen to Black and Mild, Miss Janelle
Yeah,
James'
please.
new
It's-
comedy album.
I'm very proud of it.
Where can they listen to it? Where can the
It's
people
on
find your work?
Amazon, iTunes, Spotify, Tidal. I'm sure Beyonce be listening to it.
Beyonce got it memorized. She told me.
And everywhere where you can, Apple Music, all them places.
All
So,
right.
Yeah.
Where can people in Brooklyn, New York, find you live on stage?
You can find my work on JanelleJamesComedy.com. That's my website. I post my dates there sometimes. And if you just go to comedy shows, you'll come across me because I perform every night.
You still
if
still
I'm
be
in
at
New York,
Frank's?
oh God, have I been? I haven't been in Frank's in a while.
Cheating on Frank. Wait till I tell you. Wow.
Yeah, that was my show, and then I started going on tour all the time, so I couldn't be there. So I mean, Chris Rock be calling you. You got it.
Sorry, Chris. I gotta go to Frank.
Who this nigga Frank?
Once
It's a
Will of
Brooklyn
Fortune go off, I'm on
institution.
stage.
Oh, yay.
This has been a joy and a delight.
Thank you so
you for
much.
stopping by.
Yay, thank you for having me.
And now here is our vintage episode with Janelle James.
Hi, everyone. I'm Heben.
I'm Tracy.
And welcome to another round with Heben and Tracy.
Woo, 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 woo.
Hey,
Yeah.
that sounds fun.
Why not?
We sound great.
Yeah.
Yo, Tracy.
What?
We have such a dope show today.
Why? Who is it? Who's there? What are we doing?
Sounds like the worst comeback, or not comeback, follow-up to a knock-knock joke. Wow, who there? Why is this
Knock, knock. Who
happening?
is it? Get off my porch.
Well, we have, first of all, new segment alert.
Oh, exclusive.
Well, yes, technically. It's new.
What's the segment?
It's called White Devil's Advocate.
Bum, bum, bum.
I love it so much.
That is the best title for anything.
I agree. Thank
Courtesy
you.
of Jenna
It
Weiss
wasn't,
Berman.
yeah, I didn't coin it at all. I'll claim it though. What do we do on White Devil's Advocate, you ask? Well, we take the side of the white devil.
We try to excuse the ridiculous, completely racist things that any given racist white person does, and we just try to explain them. And
We're
figure
just
out
so
how they
kind and
came
empathetic. We just want to get to know
to
the
say
other
these
side.
things. Yeah, so we're gonna try.
And then we get a little visit from Stacy Marie Ishmael, career counselor extraordinaire.
She's back. She's back.
She's back to fix our lives.
Again.
And then we're going to interview Janelle James, a new comedian that I just saw for the second time. Hyped to talk to her.
Yay.
Full show.
Excited.
Let's get into it.
Get going.
So, as you all know, Is This Real Life is a segment we have where we collectively question this reality that we are sharing. And White Devil's Advocate is basically a segment within that segment where we take some of those is this real life stories and really try to understand what it's like from the perspective of the White Devil.
Yeah, what was he thinking when he did this horrendously racist thing?
Okay, so this story comes to us from Maine.
Maine.
Oh, Maine.
This is going to be good. The governor of Maine was at a town hall meeting, and he was addressing a question about how to curb the use of illegal drugs in Maine, specifically heroin, I think.
Governor Paul LePage, Republican, says he blames D-Money, Smoothie, and Shifty, three individuals, for bringing heroin to the state of Maine.
Wait. Really, you just have to hear what this man, who is an actual person that real people elected, said when he knew that people could hear him and record his words.
These are people that take drugs. These are guys that are named D-Money, Smoothie, Shifty, these type of guys that come from Connecticut, New York. They come up here, they sell their heroin, then they go back home. Incidentally, half the time they impregnate a young white girl before they leave, which is a real sad thing, because then we have another issue that we got to deal with down the road.
All right, so get this in your mind. So you're a middle-aged white guy.
Right.
We have the serious question before us. Let us take a moment to really understand his point of view.
Yeah.
What's he thinking?
Not just a racist. There was a lot of other stuff going on. He deserves to have us explore that other stuff. So let's do that.
Check it. Let me try to explain what he was thinking.
Right. Okay.
First of all, you know there's like 4 black people in Maine. He didn't want to put them on blast.
Right.
He's like, you know what? Let me just make up some nicknames. Give them a little cover. I'm a generous person.
I'm rolling with you on this one. Yeah.
And he didn't want to go with a Jerome, a Rashad.
It's too black.
He's so creative.
He was like, check this out. Look at all the different ways that I can signify blackness without being predictable.
So really,
he was flexing a little bit.
It's a testament to his adjective skills.
Right. Language arts.
How do I describe black people
on point
without saying black?
All right. You did that part. Good job, Governor.
So shout out to your English teacher. The next part, that half the time they impregnate a young white girl before they leave, which is a real sad thing.
Yes.
Because then we have another issue.
He's just concerned, nobody wants their kid to grow up without a dad. So he's like, yo, when you come up here and you sell your heroin and you knock somebody up, maybe you should marry him. Huh?
You ever thought of that?
Shifty. Huh?
We're not giving him enough credit for being concerned about the mixed children.
You're doing so good.
It's hard being mixed in America.
Right.
He knows that's true.
If this white man don't know what being mixed is like, then who does?
Who does?
Who amongst us could, if not this white man?
He really is like, he knows the microaggressions they face. He knows what it's like to not belong to any communities. Because you're torn.
Right.
Mixed kids struggle.
He knows that tragic mulatto life.
The tragic mulatto.
He knows what it's like. He's just trying to spare the children from it. You know what?
He's such a generous man.
Maybe.
I like to think he knows these people personally because he is just stepping out into the streets, like individually stopping every heroin deal. Like, no, think of the children.
There's another way.
There's another way.
My young brother.
And then like an NBC, like the more you know sign pops up out of his head.
His head.
He's just like, the more you know. Rainbow out of my head.
This is getting weird.
Yeah, he can bend space and time. Honestly, real talk though, one of the reasons this is super fucked up is because the way people have responded to the heroin crisis in America is very different from the way they dealt with black people doing crack cocaine and any manner of drugs. And the primary reason heroin has been turned into like a public health care issue, not an incarceration issue, is because
it's white folks.
It's white people. So how dare you invoke D-Money into your shit? You got to be like, yeah, Harold and Bob.
I know.
And fucking John and
Jimmy. Chadwick.
You know they be impregnating people, leaving heroin everywhere.
Coming in and
Fucking
depositing their
Chadwick.
heroin in their seeds, taking off.
Yes. I feel like Chadwick is low-key black, though.
Nah.
Okay, strong disagree.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was White Devil's Advocate. We tried to be on this white man's side, and we just couldn't. We failed.
We put in a valiant effort.
We did. And yet and still, he's too big a mess for us to save him.
If you guys have other white people you for some reason want us to advocate for, send us some stories, yo.
Hit us on the buzz.
Hit us on the buzz at another round at BuzzFeed.com.
All right, everybody, it's that time again.
What time is it?
Good job. It is time for everyone's favorite DJ and life changer, DJ Caribbean Vibes, aka Stacy Marie Ishmael. Welcome to Stacy's Career Corner.
So,
Stace.
hi.
You ready to fix some lives?
I'm gonna try my best.
All right.
All right, we have a super general question for you.
Oh,
LinkedIn.
Oh,
you
God.
need one. What do you do with it? Is it worth it?
Why even?
Why?
So here's the thing about LinkedIn. One of the first things that somebody does when they get your application and it's not a complete disaster and you didn't spell their name wrong is they will. I'm just saying.
Go on.
They will Google you. Mm-hmm. And one of the huge advantages of LinkedIn is it has really, really good Google juice.
It does. It's like the
Google
second thing
juice.
that comes up
Right.
whenever you Google
So
anyone.
if you do have a LinkedIn profile, then you're almost guaranteed to be like relevant in the
Someone will
results that
see
they're
it.
looking for. Somebody will see it. Common mistakes, however.
Ooh.
What is going on in your picture? Why are you wearing sunglasses? Is that a bottle of wine in the background?
Okay, well, wait, though. What if they work in a sunglass factory? Should they
Then,
not be
I mean,
wearing
if you are a
sunglasses?
Ray-Ban model, more power to you.
Yeah.
If you are a
What is the
bouncer,
situation, Tracy?
like, I don't
There
know,
are very few circumstances where sunglasses are appropriate.
you know, if you have an eye problem, I don't know. But if you're on LinkedIn and you're going to have a profile on LinkedIn, one, somebody is going to find it. So assume that somebody's going to find it if you are there.
Word.
Which means that when they do find it, ask yourself, what is the first impression of you that you want them to form? Right? Get a bloody headshot that makes you look like the kind of person they want to hire. Be lit, you know?
Like, oh, it's lit? Like that kind of lit?
No, just a well-lit picture.
Oh, my bad. You gotta
You
be
should not
specific
be
in these
lit.
days.
Ideally, you're not lit, you know what I'm saying? Don't have one of those shots where you've clearly cropped like an inappropriate rest of outfit and it's just the bit above your shoulders, trying
y'all
not to look
seeing
awkwardly into
crazy
the
headshots like
distance.
this? I feel like people got the general message about LinkedIn.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Treat it like an actual place that is updated, right? So if you're sending me a CV that's like, I'm currently doing this, and your LinkedIn has you in high school,
Word.
I'm going to worry whether you're paying attention to detail. And there's one other thing that is quite useful that you can do on LinkedIn, which is you can customize your URL. So instead of it being linkedin.com/x blah, 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 you could like, so mine is LinkedIn. No, I'm not going to tell you actually, but you could have
So don't at me.
please don't add me on LinkedIn. It could be linkedin.com/in/first name, last name. And that is actually very handy because for people who might not have listened to your advertising and don't have a blog yet, then they can just use that as a URL that they put on their resume. They can link to other things, you know. So you basically don't have to pay somebody for domain hosting to have a place where you can show off like, this is some videos that I've worked on, or like, this is a deck that I've done if you're in marketing. So use the tools that are available to you, but if you're going to do it, you have to commit to doing it well.
And it should probably go without saying that in this unique URL that you make for yourself, don't have some long ass Facebook name.
And don't be like Mr. Superfly 99.
Sharon, don't hate me because you ain't me, Jones. That's not appropriate.
I mean, you know, LinkedIn it positions itself as being the social network that will get you a job. So like, don't shoot yourself in the foot by being an idiot.
One, it's useful for having just a domain name that you don't have to pay for.
Definitely. But if you're in media, if you're in like any kind of media and communications, if you're in technology, if you're in sales and you're not on LinkedIn, you might as well not exist.
Ooh.
Damn.
I don't have a LinkedIn.
Well, I mean, you're in journalism, and I think
Ooh, I
we've
see
got
what you're meaning.
like the dynamic here is a little bit different. But if somebody is looking for
Yeah, it's a horrible insular
a
world.
growth hacker in Ohio,
Right.
you know, LinkedIn is going to be one of the first places that they look.
I will tell you one area of life LinkedIn has been helpful for before I deleted mine. I was applying for an internship and I couldn't tell if they were like the kind of internship that actually hired the people who were their interns. And that's pretty hard to tell. And like, you can be upfront and ask interviewers that, but that's also assuming you get the interview. There's one internship specifically where I looked up all the people who listed that on their LinkedIn before
Journalism,
to see where they
reporting.
went next.
Yeah.
And if any of them stayed on. And that's also how I met, this was in the TV world, which, you know, it's not crazy brownful.
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 That is the most
Writing that word
beautiful
down.
So I was looking also for other brown people to see if they survived, made it in there. And I met one girl who had the exact same department as me that I was interviewing for. And I hit her up and she was just like, yeah, this. She gave me the lowdown. And we actually moved our communication to Facebook.
Interesting.
And I feel like we're closer friends and she hits me up about shit she's doing.
It's a
and I
really
hit
good
her
point.
up.
Like LinkedIn is a very good way to make yourself discoverable.
Yeah, to other brown people specifically. In this, I
sure.
do feel like it's actually a genuinely helpful thing if you're looking for a specific thing like that.
One of the things that's really important is if you are in a position where you're like, oh, I'm connected to this person and they're connected to that person, like don't do the thing where you're like that creepy stalker that sends a message like, I noticed that we have this person in common. Can you meet for coffee? You know, if ask the person who is the connection between you, if they will make an introduction for you, allow them to broker that relationship and then follow up in a timely fashion.
Word.
You know, like don't abuse the power of LinkedIn for sure.
What are the most meaningful ways you can communicate on LinkedIn?
It depends on if you think of it as a broadcast model. So if you're looking for a particular type of work, you know, LinkedIn has lots of fields where you can say like, these are my interests, these are my professional skills and expertise. Treat this very similarly to a CV. It's like, it does not have to be a comprehensive list of your every award from 5th grade, but it does need to be the thing that will signal to someone immediately whether you are looking for a job, the kind of job that you're looking for, and the parameters like within those two things.
How do you use LinkedIn when you're hiring or in your process?
We're in journalism, right? And we're trying to hire for roles to get a sense of, is this person a good writer? Like what are the other kinds of things this person has worked on? Are they interesting? Are they detail oriented? Like, are there typos? And so I will certainly just do a Google search, see what comes up. I might look at like, what are some of their interests? Are there other languages that they speak? Is there anything that seems to contradict what's on their CV? Because I'm definitely the kind of person that is looking for, are you lying to me? Like, how do I know what you're saying is true? Which is just my editor brain speaking. And I'm also looking for, like, is there anything that might not have come across or that I want to confirm that other sources of information about you might suggest?
Maybe this is a general question, but how far back should your LinkedIn go?
It depends on how old you are. Right. And like at sort of what stage in your career you are. If this is your first job out of college, you're pretty much putting like every internship that you've had for the past couple of years, if they're even remotely relevant. If you have 30 years of experience, you might not need to go back to like 1982. So it is really about what is the professional picture that you want to portray right now.
How old do you have to be to have a more than one-page resume?
Dead.
God damn! You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Dead. All right. Well, on that note, on never. Thank you so much for stopping by the studio.
Always
Stacy
a pleasure,
Marie.
yo.
Good luck with your
Don't add
LinkedIn
me on
profiles,
LinkedIn.
everybody. Do not add Stacy Marie on LinkedIn.
And if you've forgotten where to find Stacy Marie, you can
You
find
can
her
add me on
at
Twitter. S_M_I. That is okay.
not on LinkedIn.
Not on LinkedIn.
And you can find her work at BuzzFeed News Apps, hashtag Team News App.
Oh my God, Stacy. Wait. So I Googled Tracy Clayton LinkedIn because I couldn't find my page. And the Daily Caller has an article that says, BuzzFeed reporter twerks for justice. BuzzFeed reporter Tracy Clayton has taken her risque reporting to new depths today with a Vine video that shows her enthusiastically shaking her ass behind a police car. Twerking for justice, she writes.
First of all, that's not you.
It's not even me. I just seen
I know exactly
All
what
black
Vine
people are
is.
the same to the Daily Caller.
It's the Vine.
Oh my gosh.
It's the Vine of someone twerking to the
It's a
beat.
beautiful Vine.
To the beat of the Law and Order theme song.
It's great. It's amazing.
Oh my, that is libel and slander.
They really thought this was me. I wish this was me. No, but listen to this line. It says, we can only imagine how much BuzzFeed editor-in-chief Ben Smith enjoys watching his reporters' butt cheeks in action.
Oh my God.
I did not need this in my life.
You should send that to Ben immediately, first of all.
Oh my God.
That's crazy. And if you hadn't Googled this, you would have never known.
It's been up since July.
Tracy, do you not have Google alerts on your name?
No, No.
Okay, we're gonna need to talk about
First
your
of all,
digital life.
Google alerts don't even fucking work.
That's why I don't have it. I tried
But
it
once
with
in a
other
while,
shit.
they'll slip you something.
Betsy Rothstein,
Ma'am,
madam.
do you have fact checkers?
We do not all look alike. That looks nothing like me.
You can't even see her face.
You can't even see her face. And you've never seen my backside, I'm certain. How did you come to the conclusion that this was me?
Ooh, so in what situation?
This is hilarious.
Oh my god.
What a
An unexpected
God.
development. An
someone
unexpected
was like, I got my blog post for the day.
Got this scoop. Got a scoop, bruh.
Buzzfeed right at twerking. It's a Law and Order. I don't know why she's like a woman from Staten Island. This is too much. Oh my god. All right, let's move on.
Okay. Support for another round comes from Squarespace. With Squarespace, you get a unique domain experience that's simple to set up and an all-in-one platform to help you create a beautiful, modern website that's nothing like those old dial-up websites. You remember that sound? To help quiz me on some other old-school computer sounds, I have Tyler Sorensen from BuzzFeed's creative department sitting in the control booth with me today. Hello, Tyler.
Hey, Tracy.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Here is your sound.
Oh, it's a CD-ROM being inserted?
Yep, that's it. What did you think it was before?
First, I was gonna say it's the sound that a film camera makes when you load it and it like rewinds
Yeah.
for a second.
Yeah.
Then I was like, nope, I'm too smart. I know what it is. Gosh, I feel old. Get your unique domain today at squarespace.com. If you sign up for a year, the domain is free, and you can also save 10% off your first purchase with the offer code Another Round, as in the name of the show that you're listening to right now. Make your next move with Squarespace.
Acting auditions are a demoralizing experience because you go in this room and you see also auditioning all the different versions of yourself. If you worked out, you slept sometimes, never did drugs, had a good disposition, ran for no reason, you know what I mean? Shit like that. See all those broads in there. 9 times out of 10, I go in the room and I'm the worst version of myself in the room. It's shitty. I hate it.
So we're really excited to have Janelle James in the building. She's a Caribbean-born comic. You've probably definitely seen her in New York Times, Time Out Magazine, Huffington Post. She's been on Bravo and stuff. And she was recently on NBC's upcoming Night Train with Wyatt Cenac.
Yay, why?
And then, she's performed in all the spots, Laugh Factory, Gotham, etc., etc.
Etc.
So, welcome to the show, Janelle.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
My
so glad to have
favorite
you.
part of having a show is I can just be like, yo, she was funny. Get her on the show.
And I get to be like, word? Really? What?
So we like to start all our interviews. What do you do and why?
I'm a stand-up comedian because I am crazy. And
So let's start all the way from the beginning. Let the people get to know you a little bit.
oh gosh.
What is your relationship like to home?
Home for me is, I'm from the Virgin Islands. That's where I grew up until I was a teenager and where most of my siblings still are and my extended family. I try to go once a year, money pending. And
Real.
so, but yeah, when I say I'm going home, that's where I'm going.
I did not meet, I don't think, a single person from the Caribbean until I moved to New York.
Me
We
either.
all here. Yeah.
Yes, you are all.
Yeah.
How did you start off comedy-wise?
All right, let me get comfy.
What happened?
So at this point, I was living in the Midwest in Champaign, Illinois, which is where I ended up when my husband decided to do a PhD at the University of Illinois.
Okay.
And so I was there hating it. I moved there from New York. So I had already been in the city.
So while you were in New York, you got married?
Yeah. I met my husband here. And then...
You must have been young.
Yeah, mad young. So I met my husband when I was 20. And then I got married when I was 22.
Wow.
You know how marriage goes and shit. He got dreams
No,
and
he
shit.
don't.
I do not, ma'am.
Not at all.
Well,
So were you doing comedy in New York?
No.
Or no? What were you doing before?
I moved to New York from Maryland after I finished high school to go to FIT to go into fashion design.
What?
Yeah.
What was that like?
Horrible. It's not as just like most things, not as glamorous as you think it's going to be. I just liked clothes. I didn't know really what I wanted to do. And so, yeah, I was like doing technical design, and then I went into like fashion styling, then I went into fashion PR, and it was just all horrible. The people are horrible, you know, so.
Did you work with any brown people? Ever?
No. No.
Not one.
No, not that I can remember.
Damn.
And I know my last job, how my husband convinced me to move to the Midwest. My last job, I was working for a fashion PR firm, and that would throw parties. So, like, say, I remember the last party we did, Oscar de la Renta had, quote unquote, written a book. He didn't write a book. It was like all pictures. You know, it was like all pictures. And so we would throw these like lavish parties for it. And so I'm standing in the party, and this woman comes with this fur coat and like threw it at my chest.
Oh no.
I will never forget that. And I was like, I hate this
Oh,
job.
heaven's face
Like,
right now.
take care of that, you know? And I just like let it hit my chest, and it like fell on the floor. And I'll just never forget like that moment. Like, what the fuck am I doing here? You know, obviously.
I've been treated like the help several times. I've never been. A fur coat has never been thrown at me.
I'll never forget that.
That's
unforgettable.
And you would put
I don't put gum in that shit.
I'm petty too. Listen, I would have done the same.
around that time, my husband was like, I want to move because I want to do my PhD. And I was just like, fuck it. Like, yeah, let's get out of here.
So what happened to make you want to start stand-up?
My dad died. I'm a ball of laughs, you guys. I don't know if you
Oh my God, we are a ball of depressing laughs as well.
I just hated that there. I'm always like down for like new stuff. So I had it like all romanticized in my head. Like, oh, the Midwest, I'm going to garden and have a horse, you know.
White picket fence and
yeah. And,
just
and
a
horse?
yeah, like I was in all that.
There's grass
you
in the
know?
Midwest. Everybody has horses.
Yeah, I was like, that's not expensive. And it's like a dog. And
It's just really big. That's all.
yeah, it was
It's
just
a really big
It's
dog.
just hard to walk.
I was just super bored, and my husband is doing this intense PhD thing, and he ain't got no time for me, and I'm like, I need attention and shit. So and then my dad got sick, and I just needed something, and my husband ran into some guy one day who said that he runs like an open mic, and my husband had always said, "Oh, you're funny," but it never crossed my I'm like, so like.
Had people told you that you were funny before your husband?
Yeah, but like in a black girl crazy funny. Like we all
Crazy,
funny.
crazy.
Is how I feel. You know what I mean? Like
crazy,
I think
girl.
we're all funny. You know what I mean? So, and I'm not even really that like crazy funny. I'm just like really sarcastic and stuff. So just like, girl, yeah, you crazy or whatever.
Yeah.
Why would you say that? That type of thing. But not like you should be a comedian funny. You know?
So do you remember what your first set was like?
Yeah, I crushed that shit.
Oh my God.
I'm a narcissist too, but
I think that goes with comedian.
yeah, right. We're horrible people.
It takes a lot. No, you need to be one to like go up and be like, yeah, listen to what
No.
I say.
Right.
We are horrible people.
I try to save it.
I went the first time I watched, and I just remember thinking I can't be any worse than what I just saw.
So much better.
Oh my
And-
God. Honestly, everything I've done in the comedy front has started from that feeling. It's like, well, I just saw that. I'm better than that.
I just remember the first laugh, and then like really well for an open mic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just feeling like, oh, this is what I do now. Like I told myself that, like I guess I'm a comedian now, and I
So
just
the first time you did it, there was immediately
I was
a moment.
like, yeah.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
I don't think I
Yeah.
felt that way about anything.
I had neither. So
That's so beautiful.
yeah.
How would
second
you describe?
time bombed, but you know whatever.
Wait, what was that time like?
The second time bombing,
Yeah.
horrible. Like what? In the
I feel like
world?
once you do it and you do it well, you're like, oh, nothing can touch me.
No, bombing feels so bad.
Did you want to quit after that second
No,
time?
that's how you know. That's what comedians say. If you bomb and you like tomorrow I'll be better, then you know you're it's too late to stop. You're in. You know. So I don't know how other comics are, but right now I've learned to like enjoy the bomb. Like,
What does that mean?
Like a good pain. Does that make sense?
No.
It's kind of masochistic.
This is getting kind of kinky.
I used to be a dom, so maybe that's it. But
Wait.
Hold on.
Don't play jokes
Time
with
out,
us.
time out.
Are these real facts?
Did you really?
yeah.
Let's rewind. Hold on.
I have so many questions. One of my good friends was like a practicing dom for a while.
How did you get into it?
So before I met my husband, I had a roommate, and she used to do phone sex, and I thought it was hilarious. And we would like tag team phone sex, blah 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 blah. Then she started working in a dungeon, and then I was like, "Well, I want to see." And so, and so she took me down there, and then I started working there, doing like phones and like looking at the cameras, like for security. You could see like all the rooms.
Doing phones is in like a receptionist, like taking
no
calls,
appointments.
or
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, same thing. But
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not like really like call. It's not really like. Bring like the phone is, you know what I mean. It was mostly like watching the cameras,
Wait, what do you mean watching the cameras?
making sure nobody's getting hurt and stuff because we had
Oh.
security. And
Oh my God. Can I tell you guys I've been to one of these places?
Heben, we have known each other so long.
So I feel like it was a similar spot because I remember seeing a receptionist. I was like, she must have a weird ass day. What does she do? But I only went because a friend of mine. This is the first.
I only went because what had happened
oh my
was
God.
This is a very
Oh my
safe
God.
space. You don't have to do that.
No, it's not. Okay. I went because this person, it was like a queer night. Mm-hmm. And this was the first person that I'd come out to. And I was like, I trust Josh. He wouldn't take me someplace weird. Now that I'm thinking back on that logic. Anyways, I just remember being impressed by the room situations because there was so much going on in different rooms. Was that what you were working with?
Yeah.
It seemed like a regular thing that they threw because people knew each other.
Yeah.
From what I
It's the
gathered.
yeah.
There was a hey Bob
That's how you
moment.
get like new clients, just like any
Yeah.
other business. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So I'm not really shocked by much, but
I was at the time.
I'm just like curious about everything. So I'm never. I mean, some of the shit is gross, but to me, I don't know. I'm not gonna give it a general
I
gross.
wouldn't even
gross
say
to me.
it, yeah.
Some
Yeah.
things that may be gross to me, you may not
We
be
won't
gross to you.
yuck
Or whatever.
anyone's yum.
Yeah, I wasn't ever like really scandalized by anything.
So you went from working the phones to being one of the people in the actual room.
and then yeah,
Did you like it?
Wait, how does one
Yeah.
apprentice?
watch.
Really?
Yeah, in the room. Yeah,
Okay.
you watch, and
Is there
I had
like-
a dom. I had like a dom above me. You know,
It wasn't
Your
like
mom dom?
just my mom
Dom.
dom.
Mom dom.
It's like when you got a haircut in school, like how you do the bangs, you know. Whatever.
That's what I was about to ask. Is it like when you go to a restaurant and then there's a
They're
server and
like,
like somebody
she's in training.
It's like, this is Shelly. Shelly's gonna shadow me today.
She's gonna clamp your nipples today. And
So did you have like a dom name?
Sasha. Before Sasha Fierce.
Wait,
Yes.
before?
Yeah,
Yo,
before
you called
Sasha
that
Fierce.
shit?
Were you
And
mad
I
when
used to
Beyonce
do-
was like, I'm a Sasha Fierce?
I thought it was
She's like, "Bitch, no,
funny.
you not."
I don't really even.
What are like some things you've learned while being a dom?
That men ain't shit. No, I'm joking.
I mean, it's a strong theme of our show.
no. I mean, yeah, that's true. Just like your own power as a woman. Like I'm just like really into that, and I always tell my younger comedy sistren, like I think it's like people were forgetting that or giving it away a little bit. I don't know.
How do you mean? You mean like
So a thing
comedians
I'm like super
specifically?
interested in is like the whole new sexual movement. So like a lot of women are sleeping around. You have more casual partners, but a lot of the women who are friends with me who do that aren't happy with how it's going. And I'm like, just fucking stop doing it. You know what I mean?
Yo,
And
that's
then-
real.
and the guys, which is who I mostly hang around with, they're like spoiled. You know
Go
what I mean?
off,
And-
yes.
And so I don't know what the answer is, but I'm like, you're giving your power away to like losers. You know what I mean? So because the women are super angsty, nobody's coming. You know, it's just nobody's. It's just
Okay, wait.
saddest
So
sentence I've ever
you,
heard.
yeah, it is, but it's true. You got married before the huge like online dating
Yeah, I never
situation
had-
happened.
yeah.
So you've never done like a Tinder or anything.
No, but I've seen them all. You know, everybody
Yeah.
around me is. I mean, I have male friends who go on like 3 Tinder dates a day, like breakfast, lunch, dinner. Yeah, man, they cleaning up. You know, so. I think that's gross, but and I used to be a dom, and I think that's gross, but which is fine if everybody was happy. But the chicks are not. They're like obsessing over this,
Word.
and it's still the same like dating shit, but now with more
Why
like
do you
baggage.
think that is?
shit, I don't know. It's just too much abundance.
Yeah, I feel
for
like people aren't upfront about what they want.
what they
ever.
want. It's like the sexual revolution or whatever is supposed to be a letting go of the games or whatever. But they're still
Right.
like,
It's
Yeah.
mad games still.
There's
yeah.
still there's just as many rules to follow. They're just different rules.
Yeah.
Can I tell you my Dom idea?
Sure.
Yes.
My BDSM idea for white people.
I feel like I know what you're gonna say, but please go ahead.
Most of my clients were white too. That's cool.
I assumed they were.
You know how white people love being told when they're wrong about race stuff? A very particular type of white person. So my idea was a BDSM service that's just like,
You're trash, sir.
you're trash.
You
You're
racist
problematic.
piece of shit.
Well, that already exists.
I mean, it's called the internet.
This
But-
called Twitter, yeah.
Well, no, that's a part of that's a sexual fetish to be.
Oh my God, I thought I made something up. Listen,
it
it already exists.
to be degraded. I mean, a lot of white dudes want to be yelled at by a black woman. Like that's
I
a
don't doubt
specific
that.
thing.
But I
Yeah.
mean specifically just words.
just work. Yeah, that's
oh my God.
yeah.
All right, I got to
Heben, you
switch
found your calling.
professions.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the last episode of Another
I
Round.
mean,
Heben has a new
as long
job.
as you don't mind that they jerking off while you're yelling, that's cool.
Oh, please. If you got money,
You didn't vote for Obama. You suck.
like I was at this panel once where this dude actually said to one of the black panelists, it was a black panel about Kanye. So you already know. The panel was called "Do White People Deserve Kanye?" The answer is obviously no. But this dude actually said, "Rip me a new one," in front of the entire audience. And I was like, "Sir, you just want me to like flagellate you in front of everyone." So I was like, "Bing, $1 billion idea. I do this for a living."
Sometimes when white guys are like, "Give it to me," especially to like a black woman,
Yeah.
I feel like they're saying, "Be the stereotype."
Yes,
Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
So I don't know
definitely
if
what
that's
he was
what he
saying.
mean.
Oh, yeah,
You thought that's what he
absolutely.
meant. Sometimes I don't like that shit though. I'm like,
No, I
maybe I
hear
don't
you,
want
but
to.
if it's in a context where
Yeah.
I'm clearly making
yeah,
money
yeah.
off of it.
Oh yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like in your situation, the pleasure for said white man to derive comes from him being publicly just like torn apart and
Yeah.
just like caught on his privilege and caught on his
Oh,
shit
that's-
in front of
There needs to
everybody.
be an audience is what you're
And
saying.
yeah. So everybody can see, like, oh my gosh, he's taking this so well.
Yes.
He's a good
Right, that's
white
what I'm
man.
saying. So he,
yeah.
he wins in that. Yeah, I don't like that
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
I'm rethinking my business plan. Anyways, we veered a little bit.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
So far off the beaten path, but this is an
Let's go back.
amazing discussion.
Yeah. So how would you describe your comedy in general?
Well, somebody just told me the other day. Okay, I'll say this because this is always the hardest question for me. My friend told me the other day, I know why I like you. She was like, why I like your comedy. I'm in control. That's how I feel. So a lot of women do like self-deprecation. And, I'm fat, I'm blah. And I don't do any of that.
Is that a conscious choice?
Yeah. I mean, that's a comedic choice. Men do it too,
Yeah,
I'm a piece of
certainly.
shit,
Yeah.
and I definitely say that, but I'm not ashamed. That's the difference.
That definitely comes across in your comedy.
Yeah. So I don't know how you would describe that in like a couple words, but that's what it is.
Do you find that women or comedians in general, I don't know if it's different for men and women or not, but do you find that comedians who do the self-deprecating thing with shame, like, do better performance-wise? Like, is that a thing that audiences
It makes
are more endeared
the
to?
audience, well, you're in control immediately because you're on stage, you're hopefully elevated, you have a microphone, and so the audience is intimidated immediately. And if you come out and do self-deprecation, they make them relax, like, oh, maybe they're on the same level with us, he's just a guy. Before it was the superstars, the Eddie Murphys, the blah blah blah, they just came out and it was a show. Now the form of comedy is like, you here, it's just a party, it's a conversation. I'm not really with that.
I feel like there is a big strain of like just straight up relatable.
Yeah.
Is the like currency of the comedy.
That's not my shit.
I feel like you do a lot of great stuff about like race, parenting,
Yeah, everything.
gender,
Yeah.
but also just like
real life shit.
being alive.
Yeah, being alive. Yeah.
To being alive is hilarious.
Yeah, that's exactly
Yeah.
how I would describe your comedy. Being alive is hilarious.
I hope so. We got that on tape. And the next time somebody asks me, I'm gonna say that.
And I found out you're supposed to have a thigh gap. Y'all haven't heard of that? That's the new
thing they want women to be obsessed about. Supposedly, if you stand like this, you're supposed to have a space between your thighs. Or you're an ogre or some shit now. You know what I mean? And it's confusing to me. Last time I checked, this inner thigh meat, that's what keeps your pussy warm. You know what I mean? Why would you want some drafty ass pussy? I don't understand.
In your experience auditioning, what are some of the crazier things you've seen? Or not even crazier, but just like you knew it going in, but like when you see it, it's different.
Well, I mean, of course, you've always heard that. Like, oh, they ask you to black it
Sass
up.
it up.
Yeah, and it's true.
Can you bug your eyes a little bit for me?
It's true.
They do say be blacker.
Well, no, they say, like, one time I had a audition, and I have a joke about this. She says, "You're very angry." And but I'm reading the script and I'm like, I wouldn't be this angry at the situation, but that she wanted to be like, get snappy, and but that she was just like, and she's very angry in this.
And it's about like Pop-Tarts or something.
It's just like the guy, yeah, it's like some regular, just like an annoyance. You know what I mean? And it's funny because the casting lady who sent it to me, I said, oh, they want a fat black lady. Like, I read it and I knew immediately. Another thing that was interesting about this, like, everybody had a name except the black character. Like, it was like Troy, the engineer, black lady. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh.
And so it was like angrier, you know. And so I didn't get that, but the person who did was exactly what not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's what they wanted. And then she told me later, you know, they said you did great, but they wanted a more like realistic New Yorker.
Realistic.
I was like, I live here.
So was this experience I watched the 3 episodes of your web series, which is called Web Series.
Yes.
And then,
And the entire web series is you and your friend,
Hadia.
who's also a comedian.
Yes.
Hadia Robinson, she's a bomb. Anyway, sorry, yeah.
Is you two talking about what could happen in your web
Right.
series.
Yeah.
right.
Levels.
So in this episode, you're both going out for the role of sassy black girl.
Right.
Speaking of your web series, I love just watching 2 black girls being goofy
Thank
and
you
for
silly
saying that.
and funny.
Yo,
Thank you for saying that.
There's an episode where you're going to be dick detectives.
Yes.
Yo, the Dick Detective episode.
Remember that time I was on a train and that dude put his dick out?
Right.
Okay.
That's gross. They always get away.
They always get away. What if we cops that investigate that?
Just those crimes.
Yeah, it's like SVU for dicks.
I need that
Part
to
of
happen.
the reason I'm so hungover is because me and Hadia set up last night,
Yes.
smoked out, drank, and wrote a whole movie about Dick Detectives.
Oh my God.
And
It's like Law and Order, but dick detective.
Yeah, it's also why I sound like more like a man than I usually do, because all we did last night was like laugh and write this whole a whole movie. So hopefully we get
I'm
you know
looking
some
forward
shit
to
together
Dick
so we can
Detective
do
being
it.
greenlit.
It's gonna,
Oh
and
my
that's all I
God.
wanted to do with the web series. I was like. The stuff I like Workaholics and
Yes,
those. You never
yes.
see black chick. I'm like, we goofy too, you know. and
Exactly.
I don't want to pray in my shit. I don't want to go to church.
I don't want to
wanna
have to
look
make
for
a statement
man.
about the state
I don't
of
wanna
Black
have to
America
talk
in whatever.
Or you can do that and still be funny,
Absolutely.
but try to tell fucking industry that shit. They don't get it.
You know what? Let black girls be fun. Hollywood. Hashtag let black girls be fun.
I'm Nicole Perkins.
And I'm Vim Adewunmi, and we're the hosts of a brand new podcast from BuzzFeed called First Aid Kit.
This show is going to validate your thirst
Serve you a bowl of eye candy.
and introduce you to our very thirsty friends.
Luke Cage is glistening. Like he looks like he was born out of a vat of cocoa butter.
Wherever you find your favorite podcast, you'll find us.
First Aid Kit, a podcast about what we do when we lust out loud.
Speaking of fun, let's have some more now and switch to pew, 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 pew. So
It's our rapid fire
this is
segment.
these are finger guns. I have to explain this every time, mostly for my own benefit because it sounds ridiculous to say to somebody for the first time.
Okay. Random question. What was your first strip club experience like?
My first strip club experience was auditioning for Flash dancers here in Times Square.
I'm sorry. Tell me more.
Flash mob? Wait, did you make it, first of all?
I ended up waitressing for like 2 weeks, doing topless waitressing. I did everything for money when I first got here.
Listen.
Do you guys know flash dancers? I'm sure you've seen them. They're like on 40.
You know what? You said flash dancers, and I thought you meant like a flash mob. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're in a flash mob.
Flash dancers, the strip club here.
I do not. I'm not well versed in the strip clubs in
I know
Midtown.
nothing about
No, they're
New
like
York strip clubs.
they drive around with these with on top of taxis, like the titties and shit. So
How did I miss this?
they're everywhere. They're a New York staple.
Oh my gosh, Heben, we should go to a strip
It was
club.
that roommate. She was doing everything. I was like, all right. I was just behind her, like, money. Let's
Let's get it.
Trying to eat this dollar slice a day. Shit ain't kicking it, you know.
Oh, the dollar slice struggle.
This is like the main question I wanted to ask you. I was watching a kind of a weird interview that you did with some white dude named Dale. I don't know.
Oh my god.
You said your son wanted to be a spatula for Halloween.
Wait.
That is true.
At what point is your son like, I'm going to be this appliance?
Well,
Why does he have such a strong attachment to the spatula?
No, it wasn't a spatula. It was just a thing. Hey, first of all, no, I'm joking. No.
Just so into it.
He, this is something I started when I was still in New York. So when I was like doing fashion design, I was still like very crafty, and you know, and I have a kid, and I was like, I'm making all the costumes every year, and so my son is weird. He a weirdo, and I love it, and he still is a weirdo. But he would just say, instead of like, you know, other kids would be like Spider-Man or whatever, he would be like, I want to be a car. I want to be a TV, you know, and I would just make whatever it is.
Beautiful.
And one year he was a spatula.
I love it.
One year he was a fire guy, and I was like, a fireman? He's like, no, a guy that's on fire. You know, like.
This is
I
our
made
future
that.
president. He has my vote. Oh my god.
A guy that's on fire. Oh my god, that's so precious.
Please send us pictures. This all sounds amazing. This is a weird question. I'm not going to tell you whose question this is, but would you rather have prehensile hair, like hair that can just like move on its own like a dog's tail, or full body nipples?
That hair on some Medusa? You mean like,
Yeah.
that sounds hot. The hair.
You answered that very quickly.
I know.
I mean, the two
I
nipples
had
I have
so
now are
many-
sufficient. So why would I want?
I had so many follow-up questions from Tracy told me that.
I don't even know what full body nipples are.
That
Heben
seems
was
like you would
what?
just
What
be
is
aroused
that?
all the time. Like, why would you?
Yeah, that could be fun.
Nah.
No,
Can I?
No.
if you have some relief, it
You
want to
be at the DMV?
Speaking
come in and
of-
shit?
You know what? No,
You
no
want to be on
one
the
needs that.
subway,
I do not.
you know, moaning? Like, who wants that?
Speaking of titties,
great segue. Heben.
when I saw your last show, you opened with the joke, I wish I had enjoyed my 20-year-old twitty. My
Yeah,
20-year-old
I did a
titties
lot
more.
with twitties.
Twitties.
Yeah. I mean, I've done a lot with them. They were awesome.
We have a lot of young 20-something women who would listen to the show. Do you have any advice for them?
The joke is really more about like just, you know, like I got married early and being, I was like kind of chaste, and after I got married, I was like, this is it. You know what I mean? Like, I went to like church school when I was younger, and so I still have a lot of like residual religious shit. And so I think like all that stuff was like rebelling against that. But not that you should now show your titties to everybody, but everything becomes not a big deal when you get older. It's like, if I had, who cares? You know what I mean? It
Word.
doesn't, yeah. So it's more about like, don't judge other people who are showing their titties, and if you don't do it. It all doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like,
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you have so many onesies?
Because I'm a professional chiller.
Beautiful.
Love it.
I was watching your web series. I was like, how many onesies she got?
I just like being comfortable. This is after
so
years
beautiful.
of heels all the time. You know, like I went through years and years of never wearing flat shoes, never, just heels all the time, skirts, push-up bras, and
Yeah.
I'm done. Like, so that's really
onesie
what it
life
is.
is the life for me.
onesie life is the life for me.
I love it.
And guess what? Still pulling on. You know what I mean? So now I'm joking. No, I'm joking. No.
Hey, now we not joking.
Husband's not
it's-
listening
it's-
right now.
It doesn't matter. It you know, I still get hollered at by crazy people on the street. You know,
And as long as you got that, girl,
and I still got it.
that's all you need. That's all.
Yo, thank you so much for kicking it with us.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
Yay.
Went by too quickly.
I'm excited for Dick Detectives.
Hey man, look, I ain't been
Same.
so excited for anything. In
Hollywood,
so
are
long.
you
Somebody give us
listening?
some money. We're trying to do it like a black, what's Naked Gun, like a black Naked Gun.
Love.
Yeah, on that level of goofy.
Love Naked Gun. Yes.
Where can the people find your work?
I'm at JanelleJamesComedy.com. I have a show in New York every second Tuesday of every month at Frank's Lounge in Fort Greene.
You don't even know how much we love Frank's.
Hey,
are with
that
Frank's.
used to be my spot.
I love Frank.
And where can they find you on Twitter?
Twitter, I'm at Janelle J Comic, but I'm a Facebook fiend that lends to my 35 thing. People keep telling me to tweet. I can't even say it.
more.
To tweet more.
Gotta
And I
get
try,
on the
but my Facebook is lit. So just find me. I'll let you in, follow me, and that's where I am most of the time.
Word.
I'm going to come find you at Frank's.
Classy affair.
Hell yeah. All the 60-year-old men in linen suits and fedoras.
Hey.
You can shake
Little
a
fedora.
stick at.
All right, Charlie.
We walked into
Do it.
Frank's once. It was like 6
A
o'clock,
row of
7.
fedoras just turned at us.
Bunch of old men in fedoras at the bar, and they were showing Wheel of Fortune on the TV.
I
At
believe
the bar.
And then so you'll be shocked when you come to my show and see 60 white people in there.
At Frank's.
that-
White
yeah.
people at Frank's. My mind is just
They
I can't
be
handle
following
it.
me.
Yo, thanks so much for chopping it up with us.
Oh, thank
Please
you so
come
much for
back.
having
It
me.
was a joy.
Yes, I appreciate it.
Yay.
You guys made me feel really good.
Tracy, it's time for rounds.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
What? I'm sorry, what?
I said, oh my God, I'm so excited.
You didn't pronounce a single word.
Oh, yeah.
Who are you buying around for, Tracy?
I am buying around for the classic board game, Settlers of Catan.
Ooh.
It is.
I've never
so
played.
fun. Heaven, I'm gonna go buy an actual.
How do you
game.
play? What's the deal?
You have this island, right? Island's called Catan. Hence the name Settlers of Catan.
Is this a colonialism game?
You know what? It kind of is. It technically is.
Sorry.
But
I didn't mean to ruin your whole round before it started.
But I mean,
I'm listening.
There are no people to conquer, though. So
Just land.
just land. You know, there's this island.
land.
this
Okay.
untouched.
I'm
Yeah,
listening.
Exactly.
Is it like a strategy game?
Yes, it's definitely a strategy.
Why do you like
game.
it so much?
I like it because, well, first of all, I'm really into games where you have to collect resources, which is a
You're
weird
so
thing.
cute, Tracy.
Like, oh snap, let me go check on my food stash. I need to go get some more apples. I don't know. It's just like a weird thing that my brain likes. So there's that. There's strategy involved, but there's also just like luck of the draw. And it sort of reminds me of how in bear with me on this, in Mario Kart.
Okay.
You know how like you could be like winning the game and you're like the one in front and you're about to cross the finish line and somebody hits you with a blue shell and you're like, fuck, I thought this was my game. Like the same sort of thing can happen in Settlers of Catan where like if you roll the wrong thing or like somebody rolls the right thing and then like the game is just turned upside down.
Is it like a game that goes on for hours like Monopoly?
It's like between 1 and 2 hours.
Oh, that's not long at
And that's
all.
not Monopoly
That's
long
not
at all.
Monopoly long.
No.
Is it
It's
one
such a
you would
good board
recommend
game.
playing drunk? Or is it more of a focus situation? I'm trying to have drunk adult game night. Should I include this?
You know what? I would play this game drunk. It's not a
with
game that you
others.
can play well drunk.
Okay, I see.
But I mean, for a drunken game night, it should be more like, you know, like Taboo, which is
Word.
a terrible game, or Outburst, which is a wonderful game.
Okay.
Like word games are better for like
Word.
that stuff. I feel like if you play Catan drunk, eventually you would just be like, "Fuck this game. I'm gonna drink more." You know,
I see.
there's gonna be like some kind of drunken argument in the middle of it, and then it just
Is it a
wouldn't
game
go
with a
well.
lot of yelling? I like to like yell in games.
Not a lot. I mean, if you get really passionate about it, you
Okay.
can do
I
some
would- I
yelling.
would, yeah.
I have yelled in games of Settlers of Catan before.
Okay.
I like it so much that I bought the app so I could play it on my phone.
Ooh.
The app is $5. I have
Oh.
never spent that much money on an app in my life.
That's crazy.
It's worth it. It's so fun. It is
$5.
Good Lord, that's a lot of money. So that's my round. Who you buying around for?
I have 2 small rounds. They're gonna be quick. One is for fucking Stephen Colbert. I feel like I buy a round for this man every day. It's just in my personal life. I'm just like still impressed by how fun his show is. Mm-hmm. He's another one like Uzo Aduba where I'm like, pick a sleigh. It's upsetting, frankly. I turned on the other day. He had these cute little black girls doing double dutch, and at the end, he just started double dutching. It's like, get the fuck out of here, Steven.
Double dutch? That is sexy.
It wasn't even like a segment or a part of the show. It was just like closing credits. Let me hop into this double dutch game with these black girls.
Aww.
And it was so upsetting how beautiful it was. Also, the other day, he had like a tap dancer on, and he's like, yeah, let me lightweight just put my tap shoes on and join them. And he was like the person who had won like the MacArthur Genius Grant for it. And I was like, sir, can you please?
That's unfair.
That's so rude.
Save some achievement for the rest of us, sir.
I just don't understand why he hasn't answered my emails. Please come on our show. I love you so much. Second mini round is for magazines. I just really like magazines. You know how we are the cutest roommates in the world.
Right.
We had Secret Santa because we're cute. Also like house presents. And my house present was 2 magazine subscriptions. I'm trying to get...
It's such a cute idea, the house presents.
Thank you.
I love it.
I don't know why I said it like that. I'm like overwhelmed with reading on the internet now. I like can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And I need things that are like, here's a curated thing of essays, of pop culture news you should know, of election news you should know that
No
just like
comment
comes
sections.
to me and with no comment section that I can enjoy in my home in silence, you know? Like the magazine experience, I don't want to sound like a fucking hipster or some shit. I work at a fucking website.
VHS tapes.
But you know, like I miss that kind of experience. I got a subscription to New York Magazine because I find myself reading it frequently online. So that was a reason not to get it, but I got it anyway. Because I like the experience of it just being in and of itself a thing you share about yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the physical object. Oh, I sound like a hipster.
You do.
Oh my God, I'm so
Embrace
sorry.
your true self, Heben.
Oh my God, don't say that about me.
And we can go to Williamsburg directly after this.
Don't say that. So New York Magazine and The Fader. They both consistently write things where even if I don't like it, I'm like, this was interesting still.
I think the only magazine I've ever had an actual subscription for is Vibe. Like I read like Ebony and Jet, remember Jet?
Yeah.
And Essence and stuff at home because my mom and grandmother had subscriptions, but the only one that I've ever paid money for was Vibe. And my roommate and I, for whatever reason, we were very into the idea of Cavassier when we were in college. We didn't even drink in college. But you know why we got into it? Tim Meadows had a character on SNL called The Ladies' Man. And he sang a Christmas song in which he referenced Cavassier.
Oh my God.
And he sang it so funny that we would say it all the time.
Oh, you guys are so cute.
He was like, you can buy me some Cavassier.
We can sell some of your jewelry, and you can buy me some Cavassier.
And so I say all this to say that there was always a Cavassier ad in every issue of Vibe, like a full page.
Sounds so accurate.
Like beautiful colors and everything. And we would take them out and just tape them. We had a wall of just Cavassier ads.
What?
We were like, we need to make this place the blackest place as we can. What's blacker than Cavassier? Nothing. So we
What
had a
about
Cavassier
a wall?
Weird. Anyway.
Oh my God.
I know.
Oh, baby Tracy.
You did what you could back in those days. It was hard.
That is
Can you imagine living in a place so white that you cover a wall in Cavassier ads? That's what we did. That's what we were
truly
reduced to.
cannot.
There's a picture somewhere. I will see if I can find it.
Oh my God, that's the best story.
A mess.
That makes my hips around all worth it. I'm so sorry I'm this way, guys.
Shout out to magazines. Shout out to Settlers of Catan. And shout out to Stephen Colbert.
Shout out to Tracy, Vibe Vixen of the Week.
I will only answer to Tracy, Vibe Vixen of the Week. From here on out, please update your records accordingly.
Oh.
Thank you.
Yo, Tracy, we did it.
Oh my gosh. Literally cannot believe it.
Thanks so much to Janelle James for stopping by.
She's so funny.
So excited for her to blow up. I can't wait for her new movie, Dick Detectives. Never forget. Thanks so much to Stacy Marie Ishmael for giving us all that wisdom.
Once again, we
Saving
need to
our
take
lives.
her out for drinks very soon.
Oh my
because
God.
she has saved so many lives.
As always, shout out to the Pod Squad.
Pod Squad.
This podcast is produced by Eleanor Kagan with editorial oversight from Jenna Weiss-Berman and production help from Julia Furlan and Meg Kramer.
Woo-woo. Thank you to Paul Ruest at Argo Studios. Thank you to our in-house musicians, that is Jean Grey and Don Will of the Almighty Tanya Morgan. You can follow Jean Grey at Jean Greasy, and you can follow Don Will on Twitter at DONWILL.
Honestly, I do want to thank myself, though. This week was hard. This week and a half. Don't put off yelling at your insurance providers. Do it as early as possible.
Amen to that.
Drink some water.
Yeah.
Take your meds.
Also, hit us on the buzz.
Hit us on the buzz. Hey.
Hit us on the buzz.
Hey.
Hit us on the buzz.
Hey. We're on Twitter and Facebook at Another Round. You can email us at anotherround@buzzfeed.com. Rate us on iTunes. Leave a little review.
Yeah.
Tell a friend.
Also, I encourage everyone to make Hit Me on the Buzz a real thing. I see that people are tweeting about it a lot and
just
saying
keeps
that they're
slipping
really
out of my mouth.
I love it. So instead of text me,
hit me on the buzz. It could work for any mode of communication, not even texting.
Really can.
Just
really can.
Notify me in some manner.
Right.
Is the translation of hit me on the buzz.
Hit me on the buzz before you leave. All right, I'll be back.
Oh my God.
And speaking of Hit Me on the Buzz, a friend of mine decided to make a Hit Me on the Buzz song. But he did it from the vantage point of a cat daddy who is encouraging a fine young tender thing to hit him on the buzz. And we are so pleased to go out. I think it's a good note to go out on.
This is a great debut of the song.
Yes.
Exclusive.
The person who made it tweets as Soul Creator.